Welcome to the Bearcat Beat from Decatur County Schools. I'm Amy Zopp, Director of Instructional and Innovative Technology, and today we're talking about one of the simplest and most powerful habits that help students succeed: regular attendance. Joining me today, we are fortunate to have Dr. Cynthia Gardner, our Parent and Family Engagement Director. Our district social workers were Carla Williams and Tia Williams. Today, we're coming together to talk about why coming to school on time every day builds academic progress, employability habits, social emotional strength, and long-term opportunity. And we'll share some practical strategies and local support for families who need help getting their kid to school. So let's get into it. Across the United States, we are facing an attendance issue. It's happening in our employment as well as in our schools. And Georgia is really, really committed to addressing this issue head on and making us very aware that we do something for our kids. Missing 10% or more of instructional time can derail learning. And today we need to unpack how missing days can add up, how tardiness can undermine our routines, and what families in our district can do to help. So, Dr. Gardner, you work with families all the time and you understand the impact on academics that attendance has. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, first, Amy, thank you so much for having me. And this is a very important concept and context for us to talk about. And when we talk about attendance does matter. One of the statistics that we have is just missing 2 days of school per month equates to 20 days a year, which already gets your chronic absenteeism. It's 30 hours of math missed and 60 hours of reading and writing instruction missed.
20 days of school gets missed if you just miss two a month.
If you just miss 2 days per month, and that equates to it. And that is a lot of instructional times. And we know that parents may sometimes go through different things, and we know that things happen, but it's very important that we have our kids at school every single day and as much as possible. Just some more information. There is something learned every day. And when you miss any concept that's introduced, you miss that instruction and you have to either relearn or you have to get that instruction, because instruction builds daily for our kids. And we need to know that when a child misses that instruction, they fall behind. And even if you get homework to catch it up a little bit, there's no way that you can get the same amount of instruction that you would have if that child was in that seat. So we ask that parents please try to send your kids to school every day.
I would imagine if you're already, maybe math isn't your best subject and you're already maybe a little behind and you miss something new, then you're further behind in the new thing in addition to trying to fix what you've already missed.
Yeah.
That's got to really have an impact on kids.
Absolutely.
Like how they feel about themselves.
Exactly. And then that's where the social emotional comes in, and you try to talk with the kids and they may have some anxiety about math. Of course, we have Mr. Carlos Williams and we also have Miss Tia Williams, and they could talk to a little bit more about the social emotional benefits of coming to school.
Yeah, I would really like to know about that because there's so many social benefits to being at school, right? Can you talk to us about that? How you see that playing out when you're visiting families?
Well, I would just like to say thank you again, Amy, for this platform to discuss attendance. And socially and emotionally, that's the summation of school and being a part of a group and being a part of your community. It also helps promote just their overall peer bonds, having that connection and connectivity with other children, young adults, that helps them grow into society.
I want to piggyback off what Dr. Gardner and Tia has said. When you look at it, creates structure and predictability. We know all kids like structure, and school provides a routine and clear expectations. And it also connects students to a stronger support system with adults, because with the teachers and all that builds that relationship, and it strengthens relationships with trusted abilities, and it also builds a sense of belonging. Once that environment is produced as far as belonging, the more they begin to come and help develop themselves.
It's so interesting that you say that because I feel like this attendance issue has become really important thing that we're talking about in education circles in particular. And everyone keeps saying it started with COVID. It started with the pandemic. But during the pandemic, we talked about how kids had lost their sense of belonging, how they didn't feel like they were part of something. So it seems like the fix is to come to school, like to be there. And yet we hear parents talk about how kids are more anxious and more stressed out. So do you think that if we had better attendance, we would see improvements in some of those mental health issues?
Well, coming out of COVID, you saw a lot of children suffer with attachment issues. If you look at a lot of our younger primary age students, they have some type of attachment because you have to realize, just thinking about human growth and development, in that attachment period where they were learning how to grow bonds and connect with others outside of their home, they were stuck at home for a
We didn't have a chance.
Exactly. So not learning just that basic innate skill in their own growth process, they develop these issues with attachment. So now you got this small child. Now I have to leave my place of safety, my place of comfort for an extended period of time away from my loved ones. And that's a very difficult transition. And we saw that when we came back off of COVID, where a lot of our younger students and even some of our older, they had those attachments, like the bonds that they connected, and just that comfortability of being in that safe space of home now being placed in the school setting threw them off a little bit.
But those routines that you mentioned that happen at school, those regular routines, that can kind of make that a more comfortable place where the risk of attaching and bonding with other people will be better. But if we throw off the routine by not regularly being there, it doesn't work, does it?
It doesn't.
Because daily interaction at school helps students practice communication, cooperation, conflict resolution, and empathy, navigating friendships, group work, and challenging in a supporting environment to help them learn how to cope with those different things. Because, like Chill stated during COVID, they were just mostly there with family members. But here at school, you're able to navigate and develop that peer relationship / bond, so there's some common grounds throughout and a person of the same age.
And just coming to school, you develop those skills because of that routine and because of becoming a part of something. And those skills you just mentioned, Ricardo, that's what our employers are asking us to make sure that our kids have. That the ability to talk to other people and be comfortable around others and communicate well and resolve conflicts. Those employability and productivity habits, we're responsible for those. What do you think about how showing up on time and regularly impacts employability skills from your perspective talking to the community, Dr. Gardner?
Absolutely. And when as I talk to community leaders and partners with our school system, some of the things they talk about is making sure, every day being consistent. As an employer, you're looking for someone that's going to come to work every day. You're looking for someone that is able to communicate and then be able to talk about what the job entails. You're looking for an employee that is going to be able to get along with their peers. And that's one of the things that they're looking for. And because we are in a small rural area, we look to employ our students that are here. We look to employ our families that are here. That is what our community and our culture of our area is looking for. So thank you for asking that question.
I would think too, if your students is of school age and supposed to be at school, but they're not making it to school, that's got to impact your employment as a parent. That's got to have an impact on you. That must be frustrating for parents if they're having issues getting their children to school. You want to make sure that we're doing what we need to do in Decatur County to make kids want to be here and help the parents to get them there. I know from my program, I work with innovative instructional technology and trying to do some things at school to help our teachers to really deal with those employability skills and the technical side of things. And I often say, we got to make it more fun at school than it is at home. Not that it's not great at home, everybody, but we know that we got to make it something that you can't do at home.
Yeah.
Make it worth coming to school. What are some other things we're doing to really make school engaging and fun? in Decatur
I'm
County?
glad you asked that, Amy. And of course, in your role as technology innovation, we are so excited to say that we are the first district in the state of Georgia to be a WISE Ed district. And that just means that we're really putting in a focus on our technology and making sure that our kids are skilled in technology and all of the opportunities that we have. Working really hard with our teachers and our media hubs to bring in that technology. And kids, as we know, we're in a technology advanced world, and they are definitely looking for that, and they enjoy that technology, the things that you can do with it. And we want to make sure they have that. But in addition to that, we also have our drama. We also have our sports. We also have our art. We want our kids to be well-rounded. And so when they miss school, they miss some of those things. They miss those opportunities to be exposed to areas that can help them figure out, do I want to go in this path, which may be medical? Do I want to go into the education field? Do I want to go into mechanic field? Because not every child wants to go to a 4-year college. Some kids want to just go to a technical college. Carlos, I see you have your hand up. Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Because I hear it's all over you. What I'm hearing you saying, and it's true. Coming to school be a confidence.
Ah, yes. I love that.
Learning how to do this technology with the sports, that makes us all more employable because we go in there with that Bearcat pride. We know we we can do it. We're gonna do it the Bearcat way with perfection.
I agree with you. I feel like a lot of emphasis has been put on, let's get out of being sucked into the computer and let's get out to doing something with the computer that's bigger than that. Let's get out of just going to class and getting the basics, which we want them to get. But if they're not here, they got to make it up.
Yeah.
And they miss the thing where we get away from just the basics and we start applying it in all these exciting ways. Everything that's, front porch focus of our school system, all these innovative things that are happening. There's also something that not every school system has, and I think it's neat that we do here in Decatur County, but every kid gets breakfast. But you got to be on time to get breakfast. Every kid gets lunch. And that also just takes a burden off of a family at home.
Yes.
You don't have to mess with dealing with that. And that also is a social time for kids to talk to other kids and practice those skills so that when they're in work someday, they know how to do that with other people. So I think that's important too. A lot of thought goes into that. Being on time, not missing anything. And I guess to circle back to those days of missed instruction, if you just miss 2 days a month,
It's 2 days a month.
if you are late, you're also missing the breakfast and probably the review that connects yesterday's work to today's work.
Yes.
And those routines in the classroom really do build that way. And missing the first 5 minutes
It
makes
does
you
that.
feel like you don't know what's going on
Absolutely.
for the next 50.
Yes.
And that can undermine the confidence that Ricardo was trying to talk about, how we're trying to build here.
Yes.
But it's key you said that about the breakfast because we know you got to be on time for breakfast. Breakfast and lunch at school are essential for students' physical health, mental development, and academic success. Eating a balanced meal helps students feel better, learn better, and grow better.
Yeah, I know when my stomach's grumbling, I am not thinking about what's happening around me. I'm thinking about where am I getting my next fix, whatever that may be. Chocolate, hopefully, right? Absolutely. So, all right, sometimes it's hard to get out of bed in the morning. Sometimes you're tired, something's happened at home. There's lots of things that happen that make it a challenge to be on time. What are we doing to help with that? Or what advice can we give to parents who maybe have a kid who's a slow go in the morning?
I would say it all goes to a lot of what we do starts at home, and we have to start those home routines. It's so easy to get home. I'm a mom, so I know it's hard to get home and feeling like you only have an hour to cook dinner and get everybody prepared for the next day and also flip your whole house over. Whatever it is you want to do, when you get home, that 5 to 9 is that go time, prime time. My friend group, we say that's prime time. I'm in prime time. Nobody talks to me during prime time because you know that I'm getting everybody prepared for the next day. 5 to 9. That 5 to 9. But we also have to consider, too, that everybody's not home at that 5 to 9. We have a lot of families who have parents that are working or they have children in activities and they pull them away from the home site. So it's very key just trying to figure out ultimately what works best in your family, but set some type of routine for that.
Predictability.
You have to be predictable. And the biggest thing that I have seen is also just prioritizing sleep. It's so easy to not have a good sleep routine. And again, we mentioned getting to breakfast and getting to school on time, but if a child does not sleep well that night before, they're gonna come to school, they're gonna be one, maybe grouchy, they're gonna be sleepy, and I don't know, I get sleepy and grouchy too myself, so I can only imagine what a child who hasn't slept all night, or have overslept or everything's been rushed because we didn't have the opportunity to also prepare the night before.
So that's the answer. The morning starts the night before.
I love that.
Pack the backpacks, the lunches, and clothes. Go ahead and have the checklist put in place. Because let's be honest, the less decision making in the morning time, the less
better.
stress.
And as a technology person, I also just want to give this advice. Take it for what it is, but find a place for your kids to charge their device that's not their bedroom. If you can get it out of their bedroom or out of wherever it is that they sleep and have it charging, they'll be ready for the next day, just like their brain needs to recharge. And also, they won't be having it rob them of their sleep.
Right.
It does. It takes your sleep. Like, I don't even like having my cell phone near me in my room because of that. It takes your sleep, and we need to protect our kids from that.
Absolutely.
I'm all about technology, but I don't want it to harm them.
And I know we're talking about the kids and getting them prepared, but also as parents, caregivers, guardians, we also have to somewhat have ourselves prepared and motivated to getting ready to, like Mr. Williams said, preparing the night before and getting ourselves together the night before.
And I mean, sometimes it's going to happen. You have to stay home. Sometimes a kid's sick. Sometimes there's something that happened that you have to. What is the best way we can set those families up for success when they're facing that? What should they do?
So a couple of different things. Number one, appointments, doctor's appointments. We need for parents to really look and see because, of course, the doctor's office is trying to set an appointment for what's going to be pretty much convenient for them. But you have to be able to talk to them and say, hey, can we make this appointment a little bit later on? I really don't need my child to miss because just to consistently miss a certain amount of time, 2 o'clock every day. Well, that may be their math class or that may be your science class. So that means you miss that particular class every day at the same time. Sometimes the convenience of, let me just get them here. Let me just pick them up early. We have to be careful about that. When kids are sick, we understand that there is a protocol, but if you're just not feeling well, sometimes it may be take something, let's go to school, and then if something happens, allow the nurse to call and say, hey, we need you to pick them up. Or let us get them to school, maybe get them fed, give them a few moments, and they may get to feeling better. We just don't want to just assume because a child just said, I just don't feel good today. There are times, and when you're working and you have your own job, you don't always feel the best, but you still go in. And sometimes you kind of, you get it, you move on, you get it together. So it's important that we recognize, taking those doctor's appointments and making sure we see if we can move them for after a different time. Also, if we have family things that are going on, of course we have emergencies, but there are times that we can move and shift our family things to a different day because we don't need our kids to miss. But if we want our kids to be academically successful, if we want to prepare our kids to be able to move in a global society, we will need to make sure that we have them here every day in order to help them to be the very best student person that they can be.
And if kids have regular doctor's appointments, things like that, something's going on in your life, I would think if you called the school and talked to either the guidance counselor or a social worker, they could help you navigate,
Absolutely.
figure out a plan and come up with the best plan that won't get you the letters that you get from being absent, then get you all the things. And that might help your kid, even looking at their grades. I would imagine if you have more than one kid, it's sometimes hard to remember when they have math.
Yes.
Or when they have reading. But the school, that's their job. They want to help you with that, I would think. So I get to know that guidance counselor. get to know Carlo and Tia here. They'll get you hooked up and make sure that you know. And also those excused absence forms. Now, I do believe that you should be getting an automated, hey, your kid wasn't here today. If you haven't called in, there's a form to fill out, but take the time to take a picture of that doctor note, take a picture of the situation, send that in either electronically or physically so that the paperwork doesn't end up getting missed and you get a letter that you didn't need to get, because those letters can be a little scary. They come, and the state is definitely on us about attendance, so it's going to come down to everybody else too.
But we also would like to add, Dr. Gardner, to what you said was parents making sure that their contact information is updated. Because those like their phone number change, so in order to receive the proper calls, texts, or emails, that information has to be updated as soon as it's changed.
All right, so for me, because I don't know all the rules of the attendance letters that you send home, can you spell that out for me? Like, I'm a mom, I've just moved here. What can I expect as far as like, when would I get a letter about attendance and what does it mean?
So first of all, with our policy, you would get a first letter once a student has 4 unexcused absences. So once you have those 4, you're gonna receive that letter, and then it goes on from that standpoint. So when a student has 10 unexcused absences, you would be contacted by myself or Ms. Williams in regards to the school social work side. And at 15 unexcused absences, you would come into what we call an attendance task force meeting. That's what we would have. We come around the round table, we discuss and come up with an action plan to put something in place to try to prevent from getting to 18 unexcused absences. When a student reaches 18 unexcused absences, that's when he or she is considered truant. And once the student becomes truant, it comes out of our hand and it goes to the courts.
We don't want that.
And that's why we try to prevent it on the preventive side to not get to that point.
So after 4 unexcused, so if my kid was sick all week and I haven't provided any documentation to the school, I'm putting myself in a letter.
Yes.
So right away, as soon as the kid's home, we can start documenting and getting that to the school. And they can send that in electronically. And that's where you said those emails and those phone numbers are critical. Make sure that the school knows the correct email and phone number, because if they don't, you're not even getting the notice that you need to send it in.
And it's key to receive those notices, because what we're running into, we have a lot of parents saying, well, hey, we gave our students the notes and they didn't turn them in. So
kids
by
do
the
that.
students not turn them in, that's that constant method of contact. Hey, listen, we still haven't received any letters or any note XYZ.
So maybe contact the school and double check your contact information. Just do a little house cleaning and check out, make sure it's accurate. And then it puts us all on the right foot. Yeah.
Ultimately, effective communication across the board from the parent to the school, from the school to the parent, is what also helps promote attendance. From the parent side, too, going on to what Dr. Gardner mentioned, as soon as you know something is going to happen, go ahead and communicate with the school. As a parent, I've been in the office where we got that flu diagnosis from the doctor, and I knew at that moment that my child would be missing the next few days or maybe the rest of the week. I'll go ahead and try to send a note to the teacher real quick. Hey, we're at the doctor. You may not see my child for a few days because we have been diagnosed with the flu. So that kind of gives that teacher that feeling of, one, I know where this child is. And then it kind of gives that parent relief, because now that as a parent, you're going to be swarming around trying to get medication and all the things and everything. And you might honestly forget, I need to turn in a note. I need to call them. So my best thing is, if you can, just as soon as you know something, go ahead and just notify or communicate what's going on, so we'll know. Because I will say, Mr. Williams and I, when we do sit in our attendance task force meetings, there are a lot of issues that come up that if you would have communicated that to the school, we could have been a resource to you. We could have helped you through this. We could have supported that student had we known. Would you agree?
I definitely agree, yeah.
We really are all on the same team, and we don't want to ever get to the point where it feels like we're not. It's almost always comes down to communication and letting each other know what's going on. So obviously we're really focused on attendance. We're doing all of these things. What are some of the cool things that we're doing to celebrate people who are having success with attendance, people who are making an effort or an improvement in that area?
And I will definitely tell you that our schools are making a concentrated effort to celebrate those kids that are coming to school, those kids that are making sure that they're here on time. They have good behavior parties. They also have rewards, assemblies. They have opportunities for those kids to be with our Bearcats football team, and they get to come in and talk with those kids and have spend time reading with those kids. So there are a lot of the things that we are working on to do to help our kids, to encourage them to come. Parents have to work, and we do recognize that. But I always say the most important thing on earth are our students and investing in them. So we have to make sure that as parents that we take that time and we refocus on what's the best interest of them. We are the parents. They are the kids. You can come up with different things with your kid and enjoy them and say, hey, tell me something good about school. Tell me what happened. Not always remember something negative, but what was great? What happened? Who did you get to see today? What reward did you get for going to school? And just make sure that you have that conversation and build that relationship with your child about school and have a good relationship and a good outlook on school.
And Dr. Garland, that is so, so, so true. I have a first grader, and when we are running behind a little, she gets on to me knowing that she has to be to school on time, because if I'm at school every day, I'm going to get invited to this. I'm going to get invited to that. So that, it works.
So you feeling behavior parties are fun. They had a little.
are.
I wanted to go to the pool party.
I think there were gift card drawings at the middle school recently for attendance, and that was exciting. A basketball game, like just really fun things for the kids. Again, increasing that belonging, emphasizing that we know it's hard work sometimes to get there. So, all right, here's our call to action for our families. Just try one thing this week, the first week that you can. Set a bedtime, prepare a lunch, or prepare your backpack the night before because we got lunch taken care of for you. Check in with your kids, make sure that they know that if you don't get to see them, just make sure that they know that you think it's important that they get there. And if you need help, reach out to your front desk of the school and ask for the parent and family engagement team or ask for a social worker or guidance counselor so we can be on your team and get all our Bearcats to school, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so thanks for listening to the Bearcat Beat. A big thank you to Dr. Gardner, Ricardo, Tia, for all of your expertise. It is really amazing that we have such a great team here in Decatur County. And remember that consistent attendance and punctuality are simple habits with outsized returns academically, socially, and for future careers. And if you found this helpful, share the episode, follow us for upcoming episodes, and reach out to your child's school for support or questions. Thank you. And that's the Bearcat Beat.